6 months and a half by now have passed since Liam Payne's tragic passing, and his fiancée Kate Cassidy decided to commemorate him with a lengthy interview on Jay Shetty's podcast On Purpose. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Paula Bermeo, clinical psychologist, and on this channel we talk about various topics and we analyze them from a psychological point of view. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. Before starting this video, I want to remind you that I give in-person and online therapy. So if you need a consultation, please feel free to reach me out on my social media, my phone number, my email. All of them will be listed down below on the description box as well. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, it will help me out a lot. And if there's a specific topic that you would like me to talk about, leave it in the comments down below or feel free to DM me on my Instagram. I'm always open to suggestions and I love interacting with you all. 6 months ago, I did a video on Liam Payne analyzing his life, his mental health struggles that he had openly talked about, a possible breakdown on his last days that could have led to a fatal ending. I will leave that video down below anyway if you want to check it out. On that video, I mentioned something that looking back could be considered harsh, shady towards Kate, Liam's girlfriend. I said that she and Liam's label, UMG, maybe enabled his addictions. Therefore, they didn't seem as the greatest support network for Liam to have. In Kate's case, I meant that because she would drink and party while going out with Liam, knowing that he had gone through an alcohol addiction. I said it was sus, but I gotta reiterate that I did that analysis from an outsider point of view, meaning that I had plenty of lengths to make definitive conclusions, especially when many of the information available has been constantly changing. With that said, I thought it would be great to know Kate's side of the story. We gotta give her the benefit of the doubt because as fans, as an audience, we haven't really gotten to know her. Ever since Liam and Kate went public, she has been submitted to massive waves of hate just for being Liam Payne's partner, leaving no room for her to defend herself, which has allowed people to speculate way too much on their relationship. If it was real or not, if she actually loved him, or was she just a gold digger? I mean, people have assumed everything about a girl, and I bet it has been really hard for her because whether if she decided to debunk these narratives or not, the hate was going to persevere no matter what. Hence why I think it is fair to listen to her as well, and this interview was really good to do so. I know it's not the first time that she has publicly spoken on the matter. She did it with the Sun a couple of months ago, but honestly it was shallow, incomplete, and I get it because the wound was really fresh, like fresh, and the Sun is a fishy media outlet that actually contributed to Liam's hate train and in general has made life pretty hard for the 1D guys. So maybe that's why Kate gave them a brief statement. Maybe she thought, I don't want to talk to them, but if I don't, maybe they will drag me, so I'll just have to say something. Anyway, recently, we were able to know further details on Liam and Kate's relationship. In April 16, podcaster Jay Shetty posted a 1-hour interview with Kate Cassidy, which I thought would be interesting to analyze from my expertise, clinical psychology. Why, you may ask? Well, us psychologists interview people, and when we do that, we don't only analyze what they tell us literally. We take body language, voice tone, and other details into account to really get to the root of their issues, of their demands. With that said, I wanted to look deeper into this conversation to finally answer a question that many individuals, especially directioners, have. Did Kate genuinely love Liam, or was she just a PR girlfriend that was taking his money? I think I have the answer, but for you to know why, let's sum the entire podcast and analyze it first. I just want to put a disclaimer that I won't be putting clips in here because I'm scared to be copyright striked, so I will leave the link of the full interview down below anyway. Well, who's Kate in the first place? Kate Cassidy was born and raised in New Jersey. She's half American, half British because of her mom. Her life was pretty chill and normal As a fun fact, she said she grew up being a directioner, as many of us, and her favorite member was actually Liam. Throughout college, she didn't know what to do, she was trying to figure it out, so did her friends, who were also her roomies. They all moved together to Charleston, a small city, to live by the day spontaneously. However, she still wanted to make some money to afford stuff, so she started working as a waitress at a bar, lounge, and 2 weeks after starting to work there, she met Liam in said place and they instantly clicked. He even delayed his flight back to the UK to stay and meet Kate. They had like 2 amazing weeks or so, and the relationship itself was like that, according to her. Fast but magical, in simpler words. I mean, it sounded very Wattpad, very fanfiction-like, so I was like, too good to be true, but also there could be 2 explanations in here. Famous people live in a whole different reality. Things for them seem to move 1,000 times faster than for us, so it doesn't surprise me if Liam went all out to be with Kate. He was a star with schedules and all. What if he thought, I have to rush into it or I will lose her? And second, maybe Kate also rushed into it because she, being a fan and having the chance to be with her #1 favorite celebrity, that's difficult to let go, particularly when things move so fast because of the adrenaline, the dopamine, oxytocin especially, the love hormone that is alive in the first stages of our relationship, even more in just 2 weeks. Of course, they were going to go fast. In that context, both could have seen everything as in is now or never. Is it the best thing to do? Probably not. It is very important to go through all of the dating stages, to know the person, to bond, to see if you really are on the same page or your projects and expectations are different, to even fight and know how does your partner manage intense emotions. Everything is necessary. But again, we're talking about a celebrity that has a different reality and a fan that believes in manifestation, destiny, which could have influenced on her believing he was my fave member in the band and now we're meeting here for a reason. It's because of the forces of the universe that want us to be together. So regardless, it kind of makes sense that they clicked that hard and so fast. Now, how was her relationship with Liam? In her own words, it was a fairy tale. Lovely, cheesy, if we could call it like that. She mentioned he was so humble, so kind, that his love language was to always give her handwritten letters and long-lasting gifts. And from what I understood, her love language was shaped mostly into words of affirmation, always reminding him that she loved him, offering constant support. And I actually think that's pretty dope that they both could acknowledge each other's ways to show that love they felt. And I know that many could use that to say,
so she was a gold digger because Liam was giving her all of these expensive items.
She debunked that. She even said that those gifts often were very simple, like a McDonald's Happy Meal that they both enjoyed having because they ate it to share some childish, funny time, which is the equivalent of enjoying the little things in life, including those little details. Of course, let's say Liam did actually give her luxurious things here and there to show her that he was in love. Normal individuals won't necessarily get it because it is a different context. For an average person, simple details could mean flowers, a bracelet, a cupcake, but again, it's a famous, rich person we're talking about. His meaning of simple could have been way different. Maybe for him, something simple was a Louis Vuitton bag because that was, in his own personal situation, cheap. Everyone out there assumed that Kate was a gold digger for rumors of Liam giving her $30,000 monthly, but we don't really know how reliable are those. What if they just thought that because he gave her lavish gifts, trips, meals occasionally, that for him, in his own perspective, in his own individual vision, were simple. Of course, Kate could have told him, "Don't buy me that, it's expensive, I don't want it." But what if he insisted because that was his love language? Getting a bit more into the details, she acknowledged that Liam and her were somehow different. She said he was a homebody and I wasn't, and we had to work to balance that. When that happens in a relationship, it can get difficult as time goes by if both parties don't give in sometimes. Fortunately though, it seems that they managed to solve those differences and find a middle ground in which sometimes they went out and sometimes they stayed at home cooking and watching a movie. On the same page, I wanted to make an emphasis on something that caught my attention. We all know Liam had addictions. He was very open about that. He went to rehab a couple of times and tried his best to recover, but it definitely put pressure on Kate, and I don't think we have given her enough credit. Addictions are a very tricky subject for the person suffering from them and for their immediate circle. As Kate and Jay discussed during the interview, the addict in rehab usually wants to get better for real. They fight for it, but it's also really hard to get into a functional place in which relapses have a low percentage of happening. Getting there involves a multidisciplinary, continuous, strenuous work that takes years. So, as Kate said, she could have tried to do her best to support him, but the recovery process is really hard and uncertain. Of course, it was challenging for her to first understand what addictions really are, as she had never had anyone in her life with those issues before Liam, and second, how to really help the person to overcome them. Now, I need to repeat what I said on my first video on Liam. Kate taking him to parties and drinking in front of him was not the most helpful thing because it could have been triggering for him, but at the same time, I don't know how Liam's rehab process was. Depending on the person and where they are in the recovery, sometimes it could be beneficial for them to face the trigger, as we don't want to make the person 100% avoidant because otherwise they'll isolate from the world too much, which long term will affect their daily functioning. That could have been the case, but if it wasn't and Liam wasn't ready for that exposition yet, taking him to parties, bars wasn't the option. Other things could have been way better than partying, as one she told Jay. She cleared up this story that was misinterpreted by the fans, in which Liam and her were in Greece. He only wanted to stay at the hotel and she basically forced him out to the beach for at least 30 minutes. He posted a Snapchat story saying that his girlfriend obligated him to go to the beach and fans started to attack her online. Knowing the full background, I gotta say it, that was actual help. Staying indoors 24/7 actually increases symptoms of anxiety, depression, pushes addicts to consume substances again, to feel something, can worsen PTSD, schizophrenia, etc. And if you're the support network from someone like that, pushing them to go out, to breathe some fresh air, to touch some grass, as Kate did, is genuinely helpful. Sure, the person might feel forced because it is taking them out of their comfort zone, but in any recovery, the patient needs to go through some uncomfortable situations to find real balance and health. So yes, Kate made some things that weren't objectively the best for Liam, but she's also a human being who at the time was trying to understand the mind of a famous individual with plenty of trauma that she had no idea about, and aside from that, she was dealing with online bullying just as his partner was, from people that she didn't even know. I'm pretty sure it all has been a lot for her, especially if she was just a 23, 24-year-old that had a normal life, and all of a sudden she was dragged into the spotlight for falling in love with someone as popular as Liam. It mustn't have been easy. She finally opened up about losing Liam and going through grief. As soon as the interview started, Jake asked her how her mental health is, and she answered that it is still in the grieving stage, which is actually normal. Throughout the podcast episode, she also expressed that the past 6 months have been really hard because she lost someone really close to her for the first time in her life. She had never been to a funeral before and she never expected it to be that way. Side note, I think by that she meant she had never lost someone relevant in her life, so she hadn't buried any of her loved ones before. For her, it seems that losing Liam has been shocking and traumatic, as the last time they were together was actually in Argentina. She was going back to Florida before him because he was having some visa issues, but he had a home and a dog back there, so I get that someone had to go and check everything was okay. Who was able to do it sooner? Kate, so it makes sense she left first. She added that their last goodbye was filled with love. They hugged, they kissed. She was saying, I love you, love you, love you, to which he said, it sounds as if it was the last time you're seeing me. We'll meet sooner than you think. I know many out there might say she's just making that stuff up. Maybe, but there are also plenty of stories out there that are very similar in which people have felt that a close person is soon to be gone and it has happened. It's not outrageous, it's a thing. But anyway, she received the news while she was at home. She didn't want to believe them. She just wanted it all to be a bad joke and that Liam just broke a bone. Denial, that happens a lot when someone close passes. She told those first days were hard, that she couldn't sleep. Her mom and friends flew over to Florida to check on her. She couldn't eat for days. She uninstalled her socials, which makes sense. I cannot imagine what it's like to first lose your partner while being apart in such a tragic way, having your phone exploding because your acquaintances, your friends, your family, fans, haters, media outlets want to know how you are doing, turning on the TV, going on your phone to be blasted with headlines on your partner, having people speculating about your relationship and making up rumors, having paparazzis on your face as soon as your friends take you out to try to lift you up. Of course, she was going to feel numbed, as she said in the interview, because she wasn't able to process everything properly with so many things also happening around her. It makes sense she's still grieving, even if that grief is taking longer than one from an average person, because she, as Liam's family, his former partner and mother from his child, Terry Cole, as the 1D members, they were followed by paparazzis. They were caught on camera having their privacy invaded, to then have those pictures posted online with exaggerated headlines and with commenters saying that they were acting up their grief or not grieving enough, which most likely made it harder for them to grieve adequately. And maybe all of those people are finally able to process everything better now that they are not the center of attention as they were in October to December at least. Obviously, I want to talk about Kate's body language during the entire interview to finally answer our main question. I have to be honest, there is not too much to dissect because she maintained a similar posture and barely moved in that hour conversation. I know many could use that to say her stiffness shows that she didn't care about Liam. Maybe, but there is also another reason that could explain that. She has received tons of hate and she probably didn't want to do too much to play it safe and avoid viewers criticizing her every move or gesture. Yes, they have judged her lack of, but there is only so much they can say about someone that barely moves than what they could say if she had been more expressive. It also told me she was nervous to say something that could have been twisted by the public and kept motivating the Kate is a gold digger narrative, which is understandable. If her taking Liam to the beach was interpreted as her being evil, now her words are most likely to be, especially when many have been convinced she was just a pain in the butt for Liam. Nonetheless, she did cry while talking about the day Liam sadly passed, while reading one of his letters tears took her. I saw some commenters saying crocodile tears. Maybe that is why she was holding herself back to not break down in front of the cameras, because she didn't want people to come at her for crying and being accused of being fake. The poor girl cannot win anyway, so again, I comprehend why she was holding herself back during the interview. With that said, overall, I do believe Liam's relationship with Kate was indeed genuine. I know, during the whole interview, she just talked about how magical their relationship was. However, that is pretty normal. Most people, if not all, will always praise the one that has passed away because they are gone. And as humans, even if it's not the best thing to do, we start appreciating or appreciate more what we don't have anymore. We all saw it. Fan pages that were bullying Liam switched so damn fast after the sad news. Directioners that maybe didn't follow his career as a solo artist started to listen to his music and claim it is elite after it was confirmed he had deceased. Media outlets, journalists that spread fake news that enhanced that Liam hate train were paying tributes all of the sudden. If people outside did that, it makes sense that Kate's story sounds magical because overall they probably had a mostly positive relationship. Sure, as everyone, they most likely had differences, but she's allowed to reminisce the best parts, just as individuals all around the world did. She was his fiancé after all, and only they both know how they went through all of their issues, all of the hate, all of the backlash, pressure from his management, fans, haters, media. Only they both know how and why they clicked and moved so fast. And it might be more healing for her to have this magical version of their story than having resentment with someone that unfortunately is not here anymore to talk with and solve things with. I also want to add that yes, Liam's family, other friends, the 1D guys, haven't spoken to the media as Kate has, which has caused her to be accused for using Liam's passing to gain fame. Could be a possibility, but also everyone grieves differently. Maybe for Kate, trying to clear up her name and her relationship with Liam helps her to heal and find that peace and closure. Maybe it's cathartic for her in order to overcome such a traumatic and very publicized loss. We are not in her mind, so using assumptions to jump into uncertain conclusions is not helpful at all. If anything, it just shows that people didn't actually learn nothing from Liam's death, what online bullying and cancel culture can do. They can be detrimental for anyone, even more for someone that as Kate was dragged from a normal average life to the massive Hollywood spotlight and has received so much hate ever since. So please, my advice would be to be kinder to the girl and remember that words matter. They have a huge weight. And finally, I just want to say that I really wish Kate is getting the support from her loved ones, that she's receiving aid from a mental health provider that is guiding her to heal from everything, and that this interview with Jay served her to keep closing that wound little by little. I think Jay Shetty is actually one of the best interviewers out there. He's always so understanding, he validates his interviewees and creates a safe space for them to talk freely and to be sincere, which I hope was the situation with Kate as well. It most likely was though. Is there anything you learned from this video or something that you would like to add to the conversation? Leave it on the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like and share with someone that we find this useful. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you never miss out for more interesting psychology content. Thanks for watching.